what we wanted to talk about is the different categories of what apportionments is and explain our church's process of how we pay those. You'll see the different categories listed there, and I won't read each of them to you because you can read for yourselves. But if you look at the color codes, you can see what cause or what fund is for each different percentage there. And on the flip side, you will see a definition of examples and things that each of those funds are. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is the pastors and I developed a payment plan 5 or 6 years ago about the order of priority that we pay those apportionments. And so if you take a look at the page that has, thank you, Katy, has more of the definitions on them, we basically pay exactly backwards from, normally you read left to right. On this, we go right to left in our payments. And so the only one that is not paid like that is the pensions and benefits, and those are drafted monthly. The rest of them are sent in by check by me, and they are marked very clearly what fund they are for. So just so you know, we don't just send in a blank check that says apportionments. We have systematically decided how we are going to pay those apportionments and agreed upon it, for our church, and we send them in that way. We have historically, as far as I know, paid apportionments in full, definitely for the entire time I've been here, and it's been a non-negotiable item that we pay those. And so, but I think, and because we haven't given education about it, people may not know the amount of what our apportionments are. The total apportionments and the amount changes each year after the local annual report is done and sent in. We get notification of apportionments, what they are each year, and this year they're over a little like $127,400 and some odd dollars. And so out of that money, that's how the split is for that money.
Questions?
Does anybody have any questions about our process of paying? Or yes, sir.
Can you pick and choose what you pay or don't pay?
Not with what this body has decided. They've decided that we will pay 100% in the years past, and no, not according to our rules. There are some churches that have not paid 100% of their apportionments, and I can't speak to how they decide what they pay and not pay, but the way that we have done it here in Oak Hill United Methodist Church is to pay what we have. We pay 100% and have for years and years and years, maybe always. As far as I know, it's always, but somebody that has been here longer may be able to tell that. But at least in the 20 plus years that I've been here, we've paid them all.
If this church were to decide to withhold a section of the apportionments, it would be a vote of this body. It would not be some clandestine group deciding that we're going to withhold apportionments. It would be a church council vote.
Would the area in contention be general and jurisdictional?
The question is, would the area in question be the general and jurisdictional? And largely, yes. That is the one that has identified line items that could potentially be in question by this body. Again, that would require a vote. That is to say that there is a case to be made that the entire apportionments, I'm not necessarily making this case, but there are churches that have decided to withhold entire apportionments because they see the entire the entirety as paying into the institution, even though it breaks down into salaries and causes that we support. So there is that case as well, just so you see kind of the breadth of the argument there. So if we were to identify one particular thing, it would be general and jurisdictional, but there's also some churches are making a case for the larger.
Is there a penalty for not paying?
Not really.
Not directly, no.
So within general and jurisdictional, if we didn't want to, okay, under general and jurisdictional, so if, for example, we thought, well, we don't want to hurt the Black College Fund or UMCOR, but we're upset about the money that goes towards maybe what I'm guessing is the World Service, like, I don't know, right? Like, can we say, would that general and jurisdictional be able to be divided by a percentage that, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want to hurt the Black
That's a good
College.
question. I don't know the answer. The way I currently pay it is I say Fund 1, general and jurisdictional. I mean, I send it in like that. I don't further micro break it down because, for one thing, I don't even know, like, right off the top what that would be.
I think churches that are choosing to parse it out beyond that are withholding the entire apportionment and then making individual contributions to those particular things that they do want to support.
George, question. You said our apportionment was $127,000. How is that figured? What is that figured on? Membership or?
No, membership doesn't have anything to do with it. There's a specific formula of how apportionments are figured, and it takes different lines on the local church report, the annual local church report, and it's like 2 years and a rolling average of something, and I'll be glad to, I have that information in my office. I didn't think to bring that, and we'll be asking Corinne to post the slides up so on the website, and we can also put that up there as far as I'm concerned, so everyone can see how it's exactly figured. But it does change every year based on that 2 years worth of data.
Has it been going up?
Actually, it dropped this year. It dropped. And part of that has to do with how pensions are being paid. A smaller piece of the pensions is being paid out of apportionments and more paid directly by the church. So that's a piece of why it's changing. But I believe last year it was 134 and dropped to 127 this year.
Is that a full list on the, like, general and jurisdictional, or is that just some examples on there?
Just examples.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the question?
The question was, is the list under general and jurisdictional a full list? And the answer is no, it is not a full list. The full list is more than we have room on the sheet for. So these are just a sample of ones that we thought you would recognize.
With the churches who've chosen to withhold, do we know if there's any consequence to the pastors for their pensions?
No, there's not a direct consequence in that regard as far as if we were to withhold. But the churches that are withholding, so it's not a direct consequence and kind of like that, but it does eventually trickle down to, well, then so-and-so is not getting a salary and so-and-so's job is cut. And so there are consequences like that, but pension, probably not.
As you all probably know, our staff's salary is paid by this church, but the district superintendent, her staff, the bishop, his staff, that comes out of apportionments. That's where that comes from. So, because they're members of those other organizations, and that's how that happens. Any other questions or comments? Yes, in the back.
So if we send in just for certain things, is there any guarantee that's exactly where it gets spent in the bylaws of the Greater United Methodist Church, or is it just a trust thing?
Well, I think it's a trust thing, but in the past, they've honored that. It's similar here. If you write a check to this church and say, I just want this money to go to this program, we're going to honor that. Now, can we change our minds on that? Yes, but we haven't, and I think they'll do the same thing.
As far as the Greater Methodist Church, there are conferences that do not have a breakdown like this. They just pay apportionments. And so there are conferences, like Central Texas doesn't have, 7 different things that they pay into. They just have one. And so our conference is a little more intentional about making sure that the money that we are paying goes to what we are paying it to.
And for those who are concerned about the general and jurisdictional, that check doesn't go out until the end of the year. We haven't written that one yet and won't until the fall.
Yeah, the first payment for that fund is scheduled to start in September.
Any other questions? Okay, one more.
So we as individuals of this church, can we direct that our contributions not be used for apportionments?
Yes, you can do that if you choose to. Just like if you are writing in your pledge and you say, I want 100% of my pledge to go to this program. I mean, the budgeteers here don't like that because it ties their hands, but yes, they'll honor that, sure. Okay, thank you very much. Again, these slides and other information we come up, we'll get that posted on the church's website so you can go back and look at it in detail if you want to review that or share it with someone else.